Hello there, commanders, and welcome to another episode of Total War Arena Battle Commentary. We are continuing flexing on the ranged meta, this time on Alpisgraya, but again with Cynane Cavalry, since it's the only thing available to me, as I explained earlier. So the previous battle was like the entire melee lineup versus 12 ranged units. But what happens if it's equal? We have 8 ranged units, they have 9. We have 1 cavalry player, they have 2 cavalry players. It's more or less equal. This time you cannot really say it's matchmaking fucking them over. So, how will we flex on ranged meta? Well, stay tuned. For now, we decided to deploy on the right flank and push there. So I act as a scout. Warren here stopped some infantry. I run into dogs and I charge away to dodge them. I don't want to be engaged with dogs because I spotted some really nice unprotected 6 ranged units over here. Gunslinger is already eyeing them as well. Sadly my charge won't be available because I kind of wasted it here. I mean, if I didn't, then I might have been bogged down in melee with dogs, which I wanted to avoid. And well, I would like to say that cutting down ranged units in melee is a viable option. Except it isn't. So I get my units out and line up them for a charge. There we go. A little bit late. I can always bend the Chinese legs. So the charge wasn't really that effective, and killing down the enemy ranged units in melee doesn't really work because the cavalry lacks the anti-ranged bonus it used to have back in the Steam days. So CA, please bring it back. Because cavalry is supposed to counter archers and not only through the charges. Speaking of charges, I line up this charge, managed to outmaneuver the dogs because they were blobbed up instead of spread out. And the archers are really nice cushion, so I don't even need to cancel my charge because, well, they'll just completely take the impact on themselves. In the meantime, I slowly, very slowly but surely, I'm starting to kill the slingers. Line up a charge here, sort of. Oh no, that charge isn't even a cooldown there. Okay, I guess that's what I thought I was doing. But we are pushing them out of E. It's really route them, so I just need to kill them, I guess. And then we'll be able to. There we go, now I'm lining up a charge. Once it's off cooldown, pull out of melee, and then charge back in. Don't charge in melee on the spot because that won't deal as much damage. Unless that's the only option, right? If there are other melee units around and there's no space for that maneuver, obviously then just charge on the spot. But otherwise, pull out and then charge in. And with that push, we killed one ranged player, the other escaped, but needs to go back and heal somewhere. We secured E, got out of healing zone, and then we can transition that advantage. Gunslinger doesn't even need to heal, barely lost any HP, and so did most of our units. Well, Corvin did lose some. And is he going back to heal? I guess he changed his mind, yep, he's going back to heal as well. Yeah, archers, they're getting a really nice position here on the watchtower. And then we see those archers that have run away, they need to go back and heal. Slingers also spawn back in, but I prioritize the map control. I see that C is completely empty. I'm just going to go there and pick it up and get some more points for my team. And our team is doing kind of well here on this flank. It's more or less equal. Oh, this guy is AFK. That's a bummer. I think the only thing that the ranged meta here that they're going for is good for is actually countering the other ranged units. But if you're only the counter for your own unit type, you're not really counter to anything. Which is the case with archers, really, and with a lot. Like, for example, elephants. The only thing that counter elephants is other elephants. And heavy artillery, but heavy artillery is absolutely broken. And also the only thing that counters heavy artillery is heavy artillery. Which isn't really a counter at all. So yeah, that's kind of a balance issue that CA needs to look into and fix. Always should be a counter to a unit, and the unit shouldn't be the best counter to itself. Just keep that in mind. And well, here I am after capturing C. The situation here didn't change. Nobody cares about protecting the range units. So I commit 2 cavalry units to kill the archers, 1 cavalry unit to kill the slingers, also Corin is here with his dogs helping me out. This time this guy is blobbed up, and I have 2 full cavalry units and they have no support whatsoever. So yeah, this time it was quite a fast knockdown. Now transitioning onto these slingers. Repeating, there we go, have a charge, just come off the cooldown, I think. Finishing it up, lining up, reflanks, helping my infantry. There we go, no ranged units from us required. I mean, there were. Did it die? Almost. The guy is retreating back to heal. So yeah, ranged units didn't really contribute at all to this engagement. All it came down to was how the melee units performed. It's also slowing down a little bit. This is Imperial Rebels. And yeah, we just left this guy to his own devices because they're, well, the archers have respawned. So yeah, we gotta hunt down, gotta flex on them. Look at that, we're only 6 minutes into the battle. I'm already rank 2 on 2 of my units. I split up again, 2 cavalry units to charge this archer, although it was around the corner, so I couldn't line up my charge perfectly as much as I would like to. And the other, I think, just down to, I think again it was with the click and drag, the scene got selected, so I need to unselect it, I need to select these 2, okay, charge, and by the time I could have gone back with my micro with my mouse to this unit, it was already engaged in melee and couldn't line up the charge properly. So yeah, I mean, we should get good, right? But I mean, you can also get good because you need to select both units and charge with them both at the same time, otherwise they will interrupt each other charges, but not if they charge together. So CA kind of also fucked it up with how the charges got interrupted. I mean, it's overall a good idea and a good mechanic, but in this particular situation it isn't really good, and it doesn't combine well with the click and drag selection problems and coherency issues that units have. So fix those, and that problem will also be mostly fixed, I guess. And yeah, Corin was like, hey, there are archers shooting on me. He said firing, but yeah, shooting. No firearms, Corin. Not this era. Maybe when Japan comes in, maybe they'll have matchlocks, would be interesting. But anyway, there were like so many ranged units, like 3 different ranged players. And I'm the only cavalry player. And he's like, hey, there's some archers that are shooting me, and I need you to kill them. I'm like, which archers? The one I'm on top of, or the other archers that I'm on top of? No, the other ones that you're not on top of. Anyway, well, by the archers he meant slingers, but he didn't see that, I guess, because they were out of our vision range. And I finally find them here. But yeah, again, completely surrounded, right? Cavalry is supposed to counter those. It just takes so long to kill them with those wet noodles that these guys have for swords. So yeah, the cavalry really needs its bonus against ranged units back. And yes, I say this as a range main. The ranged units are in absolute shit position, and I dare say to make them in shit position? No, I say that cavalry needs to kill them down quicker in situations like this, and ranged units need to be reinforced in other ways, or the cavalry nerfed in other ways. But their performance against ranged units once they're in melee should be really good. And well, it took so long to kill them, well, that I didn't even kill them because these guys managed to spawn in. I was there for like good 30 seconds at least. And I would have capped T, but I also saw cavalry spawning down here, so I calculated, well, against 3 units of infantry and 3 units of cavalry, there's no way I'm capping this. So instead, I'm just going to go back here into the tall grass, and guess what? Kill some unprotected archers, because nobody gives a fuck about protecting archers. Like, dude, like seriously, you're right next to it. Protect him, for fuck's sake. Just be nice. In the meantime, I already rank 3. And slingers can shoot me in the back all they want. They will only deal AP damage. So all they actually did was notify me that they're up here. And hey, we are ready for you to kill you. For you to kill us. So well, I go there. I cannot really stay in melee there with archers because of the presence of the melee units. So I go up here. and kill the slingers because nobody gives a fuck about protecting them. Again, you see the repeating story? I think we're slowly getting the point across. Slowly getting there. But now they're on the ledge, so I cannot charge them. I have to melee them down, but I can't melee them down because it takes so long. This infantry player pursues me, but because it's on a ledge, look what fighting is doing. This guy has right click on me, but a few of my soldiers got stuck in here, so all the focus of this unit, wow, they're humping against the wall. It's kind of funny. All the focus is just going against these guys, the first that they can encounter, and only once they kill this guy, then they'll transition and go up there. So you need to actually, micromanage your units on your own, tell them to go around the corner, and only then attack. The entire ledge memes, cliff memes, the entire combat on there is completely... Well, that's just how AI works. There needs to be some kind of morale debuff when you're attacked on a cliff, because it's very difficult to route a unit that is on top of a cliff. Because, well, you can't really get to its sides properly, and you can only apply a rear flank. I mean, that being said, I did apply multiple flanks here, but there needs to be some sort of morale penalty that if you're flanked while on top of a cliff, you get off that cliff. Just like entering melee, for example, gets you out of the studio. Speaking of which, one of my units is already rank 4, just barely 10 minutes and something into the battle. It's leveled up quite a while ago. And yeah, this time around there's no cavalry units around, so I can just cap D with some reinforcements coming in that finally have destroyed the enemies that were on this flank. Yeah, I just want to keep pressuring the advantage, but I realize there's still 1000 points to go, so I might as well go back and heal, since I just capped a base here, a point here, so we have a healing zone nearby. So I might as well go heal up before we reach 3500 points. But yeah, since we control the entire map, again, we are going to get there very quickly. We're already at 2800 and I'm just barely now healed up. This unit for some reason heals longer. I think this was running here, and because of some unit coherency meme, the center of the unit got switched where from it was taken, because the units arrived here, the center started healing, but then as the other units were catching up, the other soldiers were catching up, the center shifted and got outside of the healing zone. CA, please fucking fix already. Like, I'm heading down so dead archers here anyway, but I guess I can just finish them for even more XP, not like it matters at all at this point. And get some flanks here on this infantry as well, lining up the charges, not really being able to do something, not being really able to do much because I'm blocking my own charges. But flanks are flanks, so I can still apply them, route the units, and finish them off that way. As I can't really do much else because the battle is about to finish. With 9.5 points per second, again, unprotected archers, and here unprotected archers. That would be very easy pickings for me. But we won the battle. So yeah, that's how you can flex on ranged meta memes even when the matchmaking is pretty good. It was pretty equal in this scenario, in this battle. So not really matchmaking's fault. It was entirely down to the enemy team not protecting archers and me knowing what to look for. But since nobody's protecting archers, I pretty much always assume there will be some unprotected archers and I go for them. Ignore the melee engagements, just go for the archers and you can get a huge snowball out of this. But as you've seen earlier in the series, if the archers are actually protected, they can also be added to weapon. So, try to protect the archers. But yeah, the entire ranged meta meme and the situation that's happening right now in random battles, parties are different. Parties are a little bit different. So, as with previous battles, CA again has a lot of rethinking to do. Because the cavalry's ability to absolutely snowball the battles out of control and carry the ever-loving shit out of their teams is absolutely out of proportion. Just punch through the ceiling of the scale of how impactful the units are. But yeah, I think I'll mix it up next week Since I talked about parties and cavalry, I still haven't featured a single infantry game. It was only archers or cavalry, or javelins. So yeah, next week, stay tuned for some Germanicus gameplay. I will find some battles for you. I have a few in mind, we'll see which one I'll pick. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this whole ranged meta thing. You can join the discussion in the comments below, or on our Reddit, or on Discord, or wherever the hell you like. All the links are down in the description, and while you're there, you can also friendly fire those subscribe and like buttons if you haven't already. That would really help us bring Arena back to the West. And with that said, I will see you on Arena's battlefields, Commanders.